Welcome to Recapping Movie Lane. In the 1950s, Jack and Alice Chambers are a young and love couple living in a lovely area of Victory, California, a company town built and financed by the enigmatic Victory Company, for which Jack works. The ladies of the men Alice, her friend Bunny, the pregnant Peg, newcomer Violet, and Margaret stay at home to clean, unwind, and cook dinner for their husbands while the men go to work at Victory headquarters out in the adjacent desert. Due to the hazardous materials the company uses, the wives are inquiries about their husbands' jobs. After taking her kid into the desert and his apparent death, Margaret has lost the respect of the other wives. The others deny Margaret's allegations that Victory took her son away from her as punishment and characterize them as psychosis brought on emotional trauma. Alice notices Margaret's husband attempting to administer her medication when she is at a party held by Victory's mysterious creator and leader, Frank. Later, Alice notices Frank is watching her and Jack as they have sex in secret in Frank's bedroom, but he says nothing. One morning, Alice saw a red biplane crash in the middle of the desert as she traveled across town on the trolley. In her haste to assist after disembarking, Alice stumbles onto Victory headquarters, a modest structure with windows that resemble mirrors. She touches a window and begins to have bizarre hallucinations. Later that night, she wakes up at home to find Jack preparing their meal. In the days that follow, Alice starts to encounter more weird occurrences. She nearly gets crushed between a moving wall and a window, and she discovers a box of eggs that is entirely empty inside. Her phone rings and it's Margaret. Anyone asserts to have witnessed what Alice did. Alice later has a vision of Margaret brutally hitting her skull against a mirror. She runs back to their neighborhood in time to witness Margaret slice her own neck and fall from the top of her house. Shelley, Frank's wife, is teaching a dancing class at the time. Before Alice gets to Margaret's body, two mysterious men wearing red jumpsuits pull her away. Jack rejects Alice's attempt to explain the circumstances, saying that Margaret merely slipped while washing the windows and is now recovering in a hospital with her husband, who was compelled to leave the Victory Project to care for her. Dr. Collins, the local doctor, who asserts to have treated Margaret and tries to give Alice the same prescription medications, provides more support for this account. Alice later raids Dr. Collins' briefcase and destroys a medical record for Margaret that has been substantially redacted out of rage. Alice feels as though Frank is monitoring her at all times, which causes her to grow increasingly confused and paranoid. Alice had a breakdown in the restroom during a special Victory ceremony where Frank grants Jack a special promotion, and Bunny consoles her. Alice tries to explain everything to Bunny, who responds violently by saying she sounds exactly like Margaret and accusing her of trying to ruin everything for everyone. Later, Alice and Jack host a dinner party with Frank and Shelley as special guests, inviting the whole of the neighborhood except from Bunny and her husband Bill. In a private conversation with Alice in the kitchen, Frank suggests that she is correct in her suspicions and admits that he has been waiting for someone to confront him who is similar to her. As a result of Frank's admission, Alice tries to confront him and Victory's contradictions over dinner. Instead, Frank deceives her, giving the other guests the impression that she is insane. After that, Alice pleads with Jack to remove them both from Victory. After being seemingly cured of her hysteria, Alice returns to Victory and reunites with Jack and Bunny. However, Alice's hallucinations and memories continue as she returns to her regular life. When Jack kidnaps Alice and forces her into the simulation in the hopes that they might have the ideal relationship, she later remembers the whole truth, that Victory is a fake world that Frank constructed. When Jack learns that Alice is aware of the reality, he justifies doing this for her by saying that she was unhappy in her real life. Alice, however, is furious because Jack violated her autonomy. A glass tumbler is used by Alice to kill Jack in self-defense after Jack attempts to crush her while hugging her and pleading with her to forgive him. Alice also kills Jack in the real world. When Frank learns of Jack's passing, he sends his men to seize her. Bunny discovers Alice with Jack's body and informs her that she has known all along that Victory is a simulation but has chosen to remain in order to be with her children, who are actually dead. In addition to directing Alice to Victory headquarters, which serves as a doorway out of the simulation, Bunny deters Bill from attacking Alice for killing Jack. As their husbands begin to freak out, the other wives start to slowly learn the truth. Dr. Collins and Frank's men pursue Alice as she flees in Jack's stolen car and heads for Victory headquarters. She misleads Dr. Collins into crashing his automobile, killing him along with a number of others. Shelley kills Frank with a knife at their home, saying it's her turn now. After arriving to Victory headquarters, Alice sees a vision of Jack pleading with her to stay. Prior to Frank's men catching up with her, Alice hurries to the window while ignoring the vision. The sound of Alice gasping for oxygen is heard over a black screen, indicating that she managed to get away. How they found their spouses, and the fact that the majority of the women are from Philadelphia, Los Angeles, or Baltimore. Shelley reprimands Alice at that time for accusing Frank of being involved in anything evil, but Frank tells Alice in private that he was hoping someone like her would confront him. Later, Alice confronts Jack about the situation and requests that he leave. When Alice touched the mirror, she was rousing herself until Jack made it possible for her to remain there. Jack then lies next to her while his own intellect is connected to back inside, keeping their spouses caught to fulfill their needs and wants. Victory. After the physicians appear to have healed her, Alice returns. However, she disputes Jack once more, who claims that he was responsible for everything even though she was substance and leading a life of her own. In conclusion, Alice drives out into the desert, while the ruddy suits are pursuing her. Collins follows closely, but Alice hits the brakes, colliding with a few of the suits and killing them all. More cars begin to pursue until Alice reaches the mountain. Meanwhile, Frank learns of Alice's deeds, prompting Shelley to shoot him in the intestine because she claims he messed up. Turning now, Alice finds herself stranded with the car on the mountain blocking the path, blaming everyone for not keeping this contained and saying, "It's my." Ruddy suits started to climb. Alice succeeds in climbing the mountain to find her, to the mirror, and fleetingly believes. Nevertheless, Jack is interrogating her from behind. She runs to the mirror and waits for him there, before the ruddy suits approach her, darken, and the last thing you hear Alice start to wheeze as she begins to awaken. Inside of the real world. If you've been paying attention, our movie's end is right now. Please click the thumbs up if you've read this far. Please subscribe to my channel. I'll talk to you later.